Excellent. I'm glad I only said polite things about you. Hi there. So, my name is Eben Upton. I'm the Exec Director of the Raspberry Pi Foundation. Yeah, I see the problem there. Learning stuff about engineering. Okay, so I run this thing called the Raspberry Pi Foundation. We're based out of Cambridge in the UK. We're a spin-off from the university there. And we build a very small computer. So we were set up about 6 years ago. We noticed that every year we had fewer and fewer kids coming in to read computer science, to apply to read computer science. And every year the things those kids knew how to do were getting less and less and less impressive. So we went from a world of having 6 kids for every place, and all of them could program in like 4 assembly languages and, you know, write their own triangle rasterizers, down to a world where we had 2 or 3 kids for every place, which is bad, right, certainly by our standards. And they'd maybe done a bit of PHP, and there's nothing wrong with doing a bit of PHP, but what it means is that when they came in the door, the first thing we had to do was to teach them all of the stuff that we used to be able to rely on them knowing from their own work at home as kids. So we decided we wanted to make we took a wild guess as to why this problem might have happened. We thought that maybe this might be due to the fact that when I was a kid, I had a computer I could turn on, and it would go beep, and I could start programming. So we thought we'd try and make a very cheap computer for kids. And we spent 6 years trying to do this, and we built a bunch of different prototypes. We started off with something which was in fact based on Atmel AVR chips, just like the Arduino. And we've ended up with something which is very different from that. So I guess the title of my talk today is apparently tips for programming a supercomputer. Now, I don't know anything about supercomputers, and I do know this is not a supercomputer. I think there may be a space in there which makes it just about justifiable. I do know a story about supercomputers. My wife is here with me. There she is. This is my wife, Liz, who those of you who have been on our website may recognize Liz as the person who does all of our social media stuff, writes all our articles, looks after people on the forum when they have trouble, and rules with an iron fist when they cause trouble. So her next door neighbor, when she was a child, is a gentleman called John Horlock, Professor Sir John Horlock, in fact. And he, as a young man, had been involved in a project in Cambridge, another Cambridge University spin-off project called EDSAC, back in the late 1940s, which was one of the first. All right, let's just say it. It was the first computer in the world, in the UK, right, not in America. So this was the first. Its claim to fame was it was the first computer ever to provide programming resources to someone other than the people who made it. Other people had made general-purpose programmable computers before. This was the first one that was used by people outside the computer department. So this was used in a lot of the pioneering DNA work that was done in Cambridge. So anyway, we got married some time ago, 7.5 years ago. And the night before we got married, Sheila, John's wife, came up to Liz and said, took her to one side and said it was her warned her it was her last chance to bail out, because marrying a computer scientist is hard because they have to get up in the middle of the night and pour water into the computer and change the valves and feed it more punch cards. So this is not a machine that you could pour water onto it, I suppose. It might even survive for a second or two. You certainly don't need to change any valves or feed it punch cards. But it is a super little computer, and I guess I prepared, using the term advisedly, I prepared 8 tips, 8 very, very quick tips. I'm just going to rattle through these tips, and I'm going to answer questions, because I know some people have some questions about this platform. Okay, tip number 1, it's just a Linux box. We've worked very hard to make this just a Linux box. So everything that you can do, if you have experience with desktop Linux, you can bring it to this platform. If you need help with this platform, you can go and use generic resources on the web that tell you how to make Debian Linux work, and they will almost certainly apply to this platform. All of the non-standard stuff about this platform, non-standard, we use an ARM processor, not an x86 processor. That's a hell of a lot less non-standard than it was a few years ago, right? All the other non-standard stuff are just things we happen to be very good at. So we are, for example, very good at media, and so some of the ways that you access media on this are a little non-standard. But just as a general purpose computer, you can use it as a Linux box. Two, we ship with everything. So we provide a default SD card image, and from a developer's point of view, our aspiration really is to ship with everything that you need in that image. So we're interested in teaching kids to program. We ship with everything from MIT Scratch, which is great for 6 to 10-year-olds. You can get a really good fun game going in Scratch in an hour as a 6-year-old with a little bit of help. We ship with Python and Perl and Ruby. We ship with all the scripting languages people are used to using. And then we ship with all the professional compiled languages. Right now we don't ship with Java, but we are very, very keen to find a way to ship with Java in the very near future. But apart from that, we basically have the set. So that was 2. 3, it's very easy to get the stuff we don't ship with. We have this aspiration to ship with everything, but there are obviously things we can't fit on the SD card or things we forgot. Because we are just a Linux box and just a Debian Linux box, if you want something and we've not put it on the SD card, just apt-get it. Just type apt-get blah, and it'll suck it, plug it into a network and it'll suck it out of a repository. 4, check out the demos. We ship with demos. There are some things that this device does that we're extremely proud of. So we're very, very proud of its media capabilities. Now, if I can just brave the, perhaps if I come in this way, I won't get feedback. And if I shut up, I'll just shut up. Hey. So I'll show you a couple of things we ship with. So if we go, okay, so we ship with a big directory of demos that show off various aspects of the device, and we ship with a C compiler and all of the GCC compiler tools. So what I've just done is I've just changed into one of those directories, and I've just typed make, and it's just built a demo, a multimedia demo on the device itself. So if I go /hello video dot damn it. Sorry, this is perhaps it would encourage kind of like very considered programming if you had to walk 3 or 4 yards in order to check out everything you've done. .bin. Here we are. Okay, so here we are playing some video. So this is 1080p resolution. Some of you may recognize this. It's a very short clip. It's going to cut off in a moment. Some of you may recognize this. This is a famous open source and quite entertaining open source video rendered entirely using Blender. So this was built entirely using open source tools. And so we provide a big directory full of C source code. You can go and have a look at, let's just see what that video, that file was called. Video.c. So, we provide a big stack of C source code for driving the video. It's really not. I'll just do one more demo. Okay, so and again a similar thing for the 3D graphics. This is not indicative of the 3D graphics performance of the device. We have in terms of our 3D graphics performance somewhere between a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 3's worth of 3D graphics performance. There are shipping games consoles less powerful than this. So anyway, we provide a bunch of this. So go and check out the source code that ships with the device. If you need help with those, come and check out the website. So there are several places you can go and get help. If you get your device and you can't make it work, or you get your device and you can make it work, but you want some advice on programming, you can come to our website, raspberrypi.org. You can come to the forums on our website. you can go to one of our partners' websites. So you can go to the Element 14 website. We're here as guests of Element 14, one of our distribution partners. So you can go to the Element 14 community. You can go to one of our other partners' communities. So there are about 20,000 of these boards in the wild, and there is already an enormous community of people working to make this platform better. Number 6, give something back. So when you've done something with the platform, please give it back. So, if you do something cool, publish the source code online. We publish everything we do. Please publish everything you do if you can possibly bear to do it. If you know a school where you want people to learn to program, consider going in and volunteering. It doesn't even have to be Raspberry Pi, right? Consider going in and volunteering. If you're an engineer, share some of your skills, because there is and always will be a chronic skills shortage in ICT teaching. Number 7, hardware, not just software. Because of my background, I'm a software engineer by training. I'm a software engineer. I was very focused on using this to do software. We brought out some GPIO lines out of the SoC we're using. We found a lot of people want to use it to do the same sort of stuff you do with an Arduino. So consider exploring that. There are a number of expansion boards coming for the device. There's a device called Gertboard, which gives you motor driving capabilities. Adafruit are doing a thing they call a Pi Plate, which is a very simple expansion board on top. It gives you a little prototyping area. So yeah, muck around with the hardware. On the last one, yeah, use the accelerators. I mean, this is a graphics accelerator. This chip is 95% graphics accelerator. Once you've got it running and you've got some stuff running on the ARM, please use the graphics accelerators, because it's an enormously powerful multimedia platform. Use it to do fun stuff. I guess that's all I really wanted to say, actually. Yeah, but buy a Raspberry Pi, please. Buy a Raspberry Pi, do fun stuff with it. Tell other people what you did. Tell us what you did. We have, certainly on our website, about a story a day now of cool stuff, and that's with, maybe 10 or 20,000 units in the wild. When we've got 200,000, we're going to have to worry about, whether we have a story an hour on our website about what people are doing with it. So please come and have a go with it. Yeah, see what you can do. So I'm happy to take some questions. I think I have a little bit of time. So the question was, is it on sale here? Sadly, it isn't on sale here. It's still on backlog. So it's for sale online from our partners. You can find links to our partners on the right-hand side of our website. There's something like 350, 400,000 orders for these devices at the moment. We've shipped about 20,000. We hope that by the end of next month, we'll have shipped about 200,000. So we're going to eat into that backlog pretty fast. So we kind of hope these things will be available to anyone who wants them by summertime. If you want one today, you can buy a second-hand one on eBay. The price has now fallen on eBay to a point where they're cheaper than almost any other ARM small board computer, even if you buy them second-hand on eBay, paying a premium for the fact that they're rare at the moment. So you can get your hands on them if you want. Anyone else? Yes.
I signed up for the pre-order system a couple months ago, but when we actually get the email to make an order, I'm a high school teacher, would I be able to purchase more than one in that order initially?
Who did you sign up with? Okay, so the question was, can you buy more than one of them? We've sold 350 to 400,000 of these, rationed to one each. So that's 350 to 400,000 people, not 350 to 400,000 devices. At the moment, you're rationed to one each. We are very hopeful that in the next week, I can't speak for Allied, but we're very hopeful in the next week, Element 14 Newark will be enabling multi-order. And that'll be great, because that's going to be good for us, because that's when we get to find out what the actual demand is rather than the ration demand. So we're pretty stoked about that. Awesome. Anyone else? So, as I heard it, the question was, if you don't know a lot about Linux, is that going to be a problem? We really don't think it should be a problem, and we've had one or two people say, hey, it brings into this kind of black screen with white writing on it, what's with that? We don't think it should be a problem. We do have for people who are allergic For people who are allergic to the black screen with the white writing, we also have the white screen with the black writing. We don't think it should be a problem, and we have a whole range of tools. The nice thing is we have a lot of communities already who are incredibly helpful. I mean, sometimes communities can turn bad, and mistreat people who are just getting started. That's what I said about Liz and the iron fist and the velvet glove. She tends to bring the iron fist down on people who do that. We're a friendly community. Woo! Hey! So which booth? Okay, so apparently there are some being shown off at the show, at the Linux user group and the Oracle booth. So we do have some in the building. I'm still not used to these things not being crazy rare. I lived through 6 to 9 months of there only being 50 of these in the world, and kind of having a spreadsheet that told me where they all are. So that's fantastic. Awesome. Anyone else? So media players for the device. We think most people are going to use Xbox Media Center. So we've had boards with the XBMC team for about 6 to 9 months. We have a really smooth XBMC implementation for this now. There's an OpenELEC SD card image you can just go and download online. And that pretty much brings it up as an out-of-the-box, pretty good media player. We have a number of people who are using it at the moment as their home media center in order to kind of get a feel for, the only thing I could see that was bad was like some of the transitions between menus run at like 30 frames per second, not 60 frames per second. It's like we've got down to that kind of really kind of nitty gritty kind of point now. Yes. When are the so the question was, when are the boxed ones for kids going to be available? Both of our distribution partners have boxing plans afoot. I've seen some CAD models. They look very cute. I guess the kids thing's got two things associated with it. One of them is a Class B FCC pass, so a consumer FCC pass. It's really pretty important, I think, not to start to ship millions of these into schools before we have the Class B pass. So we'll be doing that. There's PCB level work going on at the moment to accomplish that. Let's say summertime, because that's far enough. I'll be back in England by then. So if it doesn't happen there, you won't be able to get me. You don't know where I live. Yeah, do I see it becoming a commercial platform? Absolutely. I mean, I think that this is a very disruptive piece of technology, right? Because at the moment there are a lot of people building devices which answer to the general description of plug into a display, plug into a network, do some processing, maybe plug into some sensors. That's the sort of general description of a thing, and those things tend to be quite a lot more expensive than $35, and we can do all that stuff. So yeah, the foundation, speaking for the foundation, we love that idea. We just want to be a component supplier. We're not precious about what people do with it. We do hope to open source, we're not currently open hardware. We do hope to open source the design at some point. And at that point, I think that blows the wheels off everything. The people who can just go and build whatever they want. And that's going to be fantastic. It's fun to do that kind of thing. Yeah. How do we compare to the Arduino? We have a lot more processing power, and we have somewhat less interfacing. We consume more electrical power. So I think that there's still a big niche for both. There's a little overlap. I mean, I think there are 10% of things that you do with Arduino, you'd be much better off doing with this device, right? People really stretch. You get these big stacks of shields, right? So there are some things that are real stretch on Arduino you're better off doing on this, but that's like 10%. 90% you're still better off doing on Arduino. The way we hope to work with Arduino is two ways. One, we've already seen people connecting Unos to this using serial cables. So it makes quite a good GPIO expander and analog interfacing board because we don't have any analog interface, and a 5-volt board as well. The other thing is we hope to get the Arduino tools ported onto this, at which point we think we will have really helped Arduino out because we will have removed the requirement for a host PC, which is currently like the only issue for me with Arduino is, crap, I have to have a PC. So we can get rid of that and then we're all set. So I think, yeah, we're encouraging our distribution partners to maybe think about bundling, you know, an Arduino and one of us, or 5 Arduinos and one of us. I mean, it's quite a nice little way of setting things up. Anyone else? Yes. Okay, so this device, it's a media device, right? So it's, as I said, the die, if you look at the die, it's up in the corner there, and the rest of it is media and DSP. So the question was, will there be an API for accessing? We've got 24 G-flops of general purpose compute on here, right? Will there be an API for accessing it? And the answer is maybe. It won't be OpenCL. That's the bad news. Yeah, it won't be OpenCL, but we may provide some way for people to get some of that general purpose compute out. We got people at Google who want to do really cool stuff with it, and I'm going to be really hard pressed to resist giving them at least a kind of assembly language level access to that DSP functionality. Anyone else? Oh, hi.
What's the power consumption if you're, is there a portable version battery life?
Yeah. So the question is, what's the power consumption? We run off a mobile phone charger, so that kind of clamps our power consumption, right? I would say kind of 2 to 3 watts for the Model B. Really upsettingly, a lot of that goes into the LAN chip. There's Model A, which is our cut down version, the $25 version that we're hoping to get out in a couple of months' time. That doesn't have the LAN chip. So that's going to be more in a kind of a 1 watt peak. So it's probably 500 milliwatts to 1 watt. Yeah, it's pretty parsimonious, and yeah, hope to get more parsimonious as time goes on. The question was, can you software disable the LAN portion? The answer is probably not. Unfortunately, I don't think so. It'd be interesting to have a look. I had a quick thumb through the register interface, and I couldn't see any obvious way of doing it. I think buying a Model A is the right. Particularly now we've doubled the RAM. The Model A was going to have half the RAM of the Model B. Now has all the RAM on the Model B. So if you're really concerned about power, you don't need the Ethernet, the Model A is a great choice, saves you $10. Does it overclock? Well, the inevitable question. Not at the standard voltage. So at the standard voltage, it overclocks to about, well, we rate it at 700 megahertz. We don't guarantee it above 700 megahertz. However, most people find that it's stable at 800. There is an opportunity to overvolt. Overvolting invalidates your warranty. But on the other hand, I've seen the chip lifetime figures, and I don't encourage anyone to overvolt the chip. Everyone at the foundation runs with an overvolted chip. So it gives you an idea. If you can bring yourself to overvolt it, you can get gigahertz out of it really comfortably. You can also, the nice thing is you can also pull the GPU clock up as well, so you get bonus 3D performance. But we need to have a little discussion around that at some point, I think, because we really want that extra performance. We need to find a way to give it to people which doesn't leave them with an invalid warranty on their board. Anyone else? Any more for any more? Yes. It is a Broadcom chipset. I think that, so my day job, I work for Broadcom. I'm a, I have a reason. Roadmap. Okay, I have a. We don't talk about roadmap because of the Osborne Computer Company and their hilarious incident that still overhangs the company from 30 years ago. I have a reasonable idea of what the volume would be required to justify custom tape out. It's a lot of chips. So no, I mean, I think that we're kind of slaved to the extent we have a roadmap. We're slaved to the stuff that's already on the Broadcom roadmap. We have no real plan yet to go much beyond this, because one of the things we're selling here is stability. You know, you see people doing router hacking. There's an enormous community around hacking open various Linux-based media centers and routers and stuff. But the problem is that those platforms then go end of life, and all of that effort is then wasted, and there's nothing you can do about it. So one of the things we're selling here is not so much functionality as stability, as the promise that this will still be here next year and the year after and the year after that, so the community can invest its effort in it and know that that isn't suddenly, that the axe isn't going to come down and leave everyone scrapping around on eBay when they want to get more units in 2 years' time. So, Wi-Fi? Any plans for Wi-Fi? I said there were no plans. No, okay, you can plug a Wi-Fi dongle into it. On the scale we were at when we were building this thing, I'm done.
5 minutes over.
I'm 5 minutes over, crap. Okay, plug a Wi-Fi dongle into it, yeah. Some of them will work. It's very hard to be a foundation with no employees trying to get the FCC to clear your radio transmitting device. I think that potentially in future we may now be big enough that we could consider doing that, but otherwise. Anyway, thank you very much. Oh yeah, look on the eLinux wiki. There is a list of verified wireless devices. So thanks very much for your time. I'm going to go and loiter somewhere, and if you want to have a chat, then I'm happy to answer questions. Thank you.